Mark Tremonti debuted his first solo album over 10 years ago, and since then, he's released 5 fantastic records stocked with a wealth of great songs. But what about the tracks that never made it onto the final records? My name's Justin, and in today's video, we're ranking every Tremonti B-side and bonus track from worst to best. Kicking off with number 5, it's Walking Beside Me from Tremonti's 2021 record, Marching in Time. Of the 5 songs making up today's list, this is the only one I hadn't heard prior to researching this video. Because it's unfamiliar, I'm predisposed to have a negative bias towards it when compared to other B-sides that I've already grown to love. I try my best to see past that bias whenever I'm writing my reviews and analyzing new music, but there's just nothing about this song that makes me feel like it might deserve a higher placement. It's kind of boring, honestly. The track has a mysterious, ominous vibe like The Last One of Us from this same record, but minus the creative, clean guitar parts and intriguing chromaticism that make that song so cool. The narrative of this song is moderately interesting, but I feel like the song lacks the instrumental support and foundation to transform the lyrics into a story. Frankly, I'm glad this song was cut from the record, as it would have been a serious buzzkill on an otherwise engaging and fresh album. With some serious revamping of the instrumentals, maybe it could have turned into something cool, but since that's not the case, Walking Beside Me takes the bottom of today's list. Coming in at 4th place is Marching in Time's other bonus track, Forgive Myself. This song is a stark contrast from the previous one, with bright, mid-tempo instrumentals and a pretty solid vocal performance from Mark. Probably the most distinguishable part of this song is Tremonti's triplet riff over top straight 8th notes, which creates this 3-2 polyrhythm that you don't usually hear in rock music. That idea is much more common in classical, so it's pretty cool to see it make an appearance here. However, aside from that, I don't find much else about this track to be noteworthy. Of course, there is that oddly chromatic bridge, but I find the shift into this section jarring and just as out of place in this song as the whole track would have been with Marching in Time. I'm all for experimentation and thinking outside the box, but there should always be a reason for including or excluding certain elements in music. The modal mixture used here just doesn't make any sense given the direction of the song, so it feels messy, forced, and very uncharacteristic of Tremonti. But that is often the case with B-sides, as they're a reminder to us that even the best artists aren't perfect 100% of the time. Writing a good song takes a lot of work, and sometimes you have to make the tough decisions to cut or abandon something, even if it's something you've already invested a lot of time into. I know I've already had my fair share of scrapped and frankly bad video ideas, and I know there will be many more to come before I retire and die. With that said, let's move on to number 3. Up next is Now or Never, the only B-side from A Dying Machine. If we're being perfectly honest, this song was unnecessary for the record, so it's good that it never made it onto the final track list. The song's bright, inspiring tone just doesn't match the dark nature of the rest of the album, and having another poppy upbeat song would have lessened the impact of Take You With Me. The song's instrumentals are alright, but lack any distinguishable qualities to make it stand out from other songs. However, that's not the case for the vocals. Now or Never's biggest redeeming quality is Mark's singing. Just like with Take You With Me and From the Sky, Mark lets rip his high range, and it is awesome to hear it. You know, we always think of Miles Kennedy as the king of soaring high notes, but Mark has steadily been expanding his range and tackles some pretty big belts nowadays with Tremonti. It's great to hear, and this song is a prime example of that. But there are still other songs from A Dying Machine that can offer the same caliber of performance combined with great instrumentals and lyrics. For those reasons, Now or Never takes the middle spot on my list. Before I reveal my top 2 Tremonti B-sides, make sure to hit the like button if you're enjoying this video. It helps out a ton with YouTube's algorithm, and I personally appreciate it a lot. So thanks. Taking Silver is Tremonti's first released B-side, All That I Got. In the lead up to Tremonti's first solo album, this song was revealed as track 12 of 14. but was later trimmed from the record along with one other song. Fun fact, the pre-release version of All I Was looked nothing like the finished product, despite having mostly the same tracks. I put a link in the description of this video to an article from 2012 where Mark actually provided this tentative track list. I think it's pretty interesting, so go check it out if you're curious. Back to the song now. This one is probably the heaviest track on this entire list, and it's got a fantastic breakdown in the bridge. So the reason why I place it at second, this is probably gonna sound odd coming from me, a drummer, but I think Garrett's drumming on All That I Got is a little much. This is one of his busiest parts in all of Tremonti's music, and it pulls focus from the rest of the parts. As a drummer, I love his playing, but from a songwriting perspective, it's a little distracting. For some sections, a frantic drum part works perfectly, like in the breakdown, but the drums are relentless throughout the entire song and provide no room to breathe. Maybe if Garrett had lightened up in a couple spots during this song, it likely would have been a great fit for the album and potentially my favorite B-side. But since that's not the case, All That I Got is exceeded by one song and one song only. In my opinion, the undeniable champion has gotta be the second release bonus track, Gone, following Tremonti's debut album. I didn't uncover this song until several years after discovering Tremonti, and I was so pissed that I'd been missing out on such a great song that whole time. Since then, this song has consistently been among my top tracks on Spotify for several years. And I really don't expect that to change anytime soon. So what makes me obsess over this song even more than most of Tremonti's actual album tracks? Honestly, it's kind of hard to put into words why I love this song so much. Back when I started this channel, I published a video about Gone that breaks down the song's composition and musical elements, but there's so much more to it than just that. The song just fits. It's the perfect tempo for jamming or just strutting around town, and the polyrhythmic riff has got a great groove to it, on top of being heavy as shit. All in all, this song is just freaking awesome, and I'm not sure if any other B-side could top it, considering that I love this song more than most of Tremonti's actual music. It may not be everyone's favorite, but it certainly is mine, which is why Gone takes the #1 spot on today's list. Tremonti's B-sides are pretty cool, but there's not many to choose from, so we're working with a pretty small data set for this video. However, the opposite is true for Alter Bridge, as they have enough bonus tracks to fill an entire album. There's probably at least one you've never heard of, which is why you should watch this video next, where I ranked every single Alter Bridge B-side and bonus track. You don't want to miss out on this chance to discover a new song by a fantastic band. So I'll see you there.